The final category has been severely cut short because now the only nominations for Best Fan Creation are Brutal Doom 64 and Enderall, The Shards of Order, one of which is a mod of Doom 64, I think.
What got taken out, MBZ?
Well, Bally, Nintendo, as part of the Game Awards, have legal control over certain aspects of the Game Awards, which is why when Jeff Keighley went to my big man Reggie Fils-Aimé and was like, "Yo, Reggie, how about these fan awards for the fans? You fucking love your fans." And Reggie's like,
I love the fans.
Jeff, I'm sorry, but these Japanese people, they're not going to let me. I'd love to, Reggie.
They've got me in handcuffs.
Jeff, yeah. He's like,
gun to my head.
Jeff, I would love to give us some fucking good PR for once. I would love it. But I'm sorry.
I've been trying to break away Nintendo of America from NCL for 5 years now, and I still can't do it.
Which you were shackled. So Project AM2R and Pokemon Uranium. Apparently Pokemon Uranium is kind of shit, so no one cares. The real tragedy here is AM2R, which is another Metroid 2 remake, which I played earlier this year. Yes, it clearly would have won. I don't think any of those other games had a shot against that game, because that game is fucking phenomenal. So basically Nintendo have removed both of these from the category, and this is problematic in many ways. It's unfortunate, it's a shame, it's just disappointing. Nintendo obviously within their legal rights to do this,
unfortunately,
because they can. What were you going to say, Bally?
Unfortunately, it's just really expected. I think with the awards shows, you always have to step back and think, who benefits from awards shows? And the answer is gaming companies. That they are the big beneficiaries, and like Keighley has to get all of them on side and keep them all happy. And it's really, award shows are incredibly difficult to keep everyone happy because everyone has to win something, otherwise it falls apart. If the same companies always win every single year regardless, it really falls apart. So you really need to keep everyone happy because they're the ones benefiting and creating the show. And the risk of someone like Nintendo pulling out of this stuff would, I'm not going to say it would completely bring down the whole show, but it would bring down a big chunk of the show. And it's incredibly important that, as lame as it is...
one of the three major console manufacturers bow out.
Precisely. As lame as it is, you got to keep Nintendo happy. They're huge. It's Nintendo. And I feel really sorry for Keighley, but I mean, unfortunately, any of us in his position would do the same. And it's really just a bitter pill to swallow, but that's unfortunately the downside of the situation.
I mean, award shows are never really interesting for the awards anyway.
And this is really good for all the trailers in between. And like I said, the falling asleep for Breath of the Wild last year, but it was stuff like that is what gets the views, I guess. And then the extra award is it's just like a bonus sort of promotion of a game at the end of the year to boost a bit of sales before Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, it's generally I really don't like the notion that an award show is basically controlled by the interests of the people who are nominated. It just feels like the most corrupt fucking thing.
But all award BAFTA's like this as well. And
every award show is. But ultimately, awards are fucking meaningless. At a base level, they're fucking meaningless. At a grander scale, they're a marketing tool, and that's the thing. It's they're gonna basically, whoever wins Game of the Year is gonna basically slap on all their video game boxes, winner of the Game Awards 2016. It's just how it works. And as lame and fucking dumb as it is, it's just, God, I really, it pisses me off, but I'm still gonna watch this fucking thing, aren't I? So I'm fucking the problem,
What if the fans could get together and create our own gaming awards, and we could actually have awards that awarded games with IPs in them?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there are many places around the web that do their own stuff and will recognize this sort of thing. And that's why I like going to places like Giant Bomb, because they are editorially independent. They're not reliant on any fucking games companies to control their interests. They just talk about the games as straight as they can, and give their opinions and make their choices. And that is ultimately what is far more interesting to me, you know, from a standpoint of these are people I trust and I know their opinions, and I am very interested in what they thought of the games that came out this year. And as fun as it is to like look at these awards and be like, that was a dumb decision, that game won. It's all about the pomp and circumstance. It's all about this Twitter snark, you know. That's basically what this stuff is. So
Twitter snark, as bad as it is very entertaining.
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's ultimately like
great.
a form of entertainment.
Yeah.
And, you know, AM2R may not get its recognition, but let me tell you, it's fucking absolutely one of the best games that came out this year. So,
and you know that when best fan creation is talked about during the Game Awards, Twitter is only going to be talking about AM2R. That's all they're going to be talking about. And as much as Nintendo wants to bite it off and say, oh, we don't know what that is, what are you talking about? People engaged know everything about that game, and Twitter will represent that.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I do see the problem with Nintendo in terms of, and I really, really pity NOA, because in so many of the decisions, they just look like assholes. Like the YouTube stuff, like all this, everything, all the decisions that come from Japan that just make them look like the most heinous people in the world it's awful. Because, you know, you have a company like id who actually tweeted about the best fan creation and are like, hey, Brutal Doom 64 was nominated for this. Good job, guys. We love that you love our game. Like, and Nintendo basically ignore and shut theirs down. And that is just fucking... It shows you the way that Western companies versus Eastern companies react. And it's just a different culture, unfortunately. It's just the way that it's treated. But what are you going to do? You can't fucking change them from not being a Japanese company. If you enjoyed this discussion and would like to hear more, consider subscribing to us on YouTube and following the podcast playlist. You can also find us on iTunes and various other places. Follow us on Twitter at TNL Podcast and email us thisnintendolife@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.